Oh man, is this the season 1 finale? And we're doing a kick-ass episode over a badass movie? Hell yes. The Moratorium and Podcat are turning 1. And to celebrate, we're giving away the director's cut of this episode. All you have to do is contact us on social media or at moviemoratorium@gmail.com. And I'll send you a link to download. That's a special gift from us to you. More laughs and freaking fun. Happy birthday, Podcat. Cue the music.
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
And now for our lesson.
You know, I do love Michael Mann.
I love Michael Mann. But this movie is a mess. Is that what you were going to say?
I want to see the original cut.
Oh, for sure. I think it might even be more confusing if there was extra stuff in there.
You think?
I don't know. I was a little depressed watching this. Not depressed, but I was just like, I remember loving this movie, you know, and I haven't seen it I probably watched it on VHS the last time I saw it, you know, because there isn't a better version.
Nope.
Do you know anything about that? Did you research anything about why Paramount doesn't want to turn it into a Blu-ray, or who owns it? Or
Well, Paramount owns it. It says here on Wikipedia, the film, extensively cut by the studio from its original 3.5-hour runtime to just over 1.5 hours, was given a limited release theatrically.
Yeah.
1983. It grossed $4,200,000 off of a $6 million budget.
Okay. So they didn't even break even.
The film was released on Laserdisc and VHS by Paramount Home Video.
Ooh. Oh, can you imagine having the Laserdisc?
Although the film was available for purchase on YouTube as well as streaming services, Amazon, and available on Netflix.
Right.
Streaming with the Tangerine Dream soundtrack, it was not released on DVD or Blu-ray disc in any country until January 20th, 2020.
Okay.
When it was officially released on DVD in Australia by the Via Vision Entertainment label. Why don't you own that?
I don't know. I thought you were going to say that there was just a little village in Romania that had like that one copy of it or something.
Weekly screenings.
Yes. Huh. Well, I didn't look that deeply into it, and I finally ended up watching the YouTube version. You know what, though? I think it's just that, you know, watching this just for the visuals back when I was, 15 or something, I wasn't even really paying attention to the plot, I don't think. I was just waiting for the He-Man looking guy to, like, crush some Nazis, but...
or explode their heads and...
or explode. That seems like his main move, is just to blast them in slow motion.
Like they're made out of ceramic.
Yeah, one guy's face like shattered like it was a mannequin face. That was very odd. And everything's in slow motion when that happens, so you can see all the little, like, the dummy.
And I was reading Paramount was trying to get a shorter run of this film. They could have just sped up those slow motion shots.
Yeah,
they could have saved a lot of time.
Could have come in at a tight, like, hour and 3 minutes or something. I guess that's the thing, is that I was watching a very low-res version of this, and that really is all you have to grasp a hold of, is just some kick-ass, visuals and
music.
And music, and never mind the plot, which is barely there to begin with.
Well, let's tell our...
But like I said, oh yeah, I forgot that
let's tell our audience what we're watching.
Okay, you do it.
We're watching The Keep. 1983? Is that right?
Yep. Or at least that's when it was released. I don't know when. It seemed like it had a very troubled production, but I didn't see I didn't see how long it had.
It said it took like 11 weeks to shoot. I think it said something like that.
Well, I guess we'll get into it later, but I guess the special effects guy died, so they had to they had to basically guess what he was going to do with the last 30 minutes.
We're like, yeah, he didn't keep any notes or anything, so
Did you never talk to him? You just kept giving him money, and he's like, no, it's going to be great.
Leave me alone. I work alone.
Right.
I don't need your petty help. I assume he was German.
He has a weird name, wasn't it like Wenders or something? Or?
Wally Weavers.
Wally V.
We'll talk about him just a little bit, but yes, Wally V. That is not a fake name, I'm sure. That is not an alias.
That's the Bizarro version of Wally Cleaver.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right? From Leave It to Beaver?
Yeah.
Is all of this rhyming all of a sudden?
Maybe so. So 1983 film The Keep, which reads, Nazis are forced to turn a Jewish historian... Nazis are forced to turn a Jewish historian, turn two. Oh my God, they keep turning him.
In an office chair, just spinning him around.
Nazis are forced to turn to a Jewish historian for help in battling the ancient demon they have inadvertently freed from its prison. My bad. What's my bad in German?
Yeah.
What's that?
Oops. What's oops in German? I think it's still oops. It's just got a little umlaut over it. It's you with an umlaut. P.S. Oops. I'm a Dummkopf. I only know German from Hogan's Heroes.
That's it. All right. Well, let's get into this.
We better. Nobody else is going to do it.
Nobody's going to do it. If anybody remembers this film, they're going to remember it when they were a child, when they were young and naive and didn't realize there had to be a plot in a film to enjoy it.
Well, they don't have to be, but it certainly helps.
Well, welcome to the Moratorium.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I'm Tim Kornman, and with me as always is slightly non-inebriated Jason Walker.
Yeah. Hi. That does describe me.
Only fueled by caffeine pills and cold coffee.
This is my second cold coffee, and I'm either, as awake as a person can possibly be. My heart is racing. But I feel like I could take a nap in the next 5 minutes and just sleep for hours.
And to enjoy this, I have a kielbasa. I can't say that. Great. I have a large sausage.
Okay.
That I'm eating. Yeah.
Do kids listen to this?
I don't think anybody listens to this, Jason.
And our voices are just floating into the void.
You can only hope.
I'm clicking through the pictures on IMDb, and this almost works better than the version I watched. Just kind of make a flip book out of it.
Yeah.
I don't think I looked through these last night, but there are some pretty killer, foreign movie posters.
Oh, I dig them.
Yeah.
And you read the book for this, correct?
I did, but I found out I kind of was reading along and watching this, and eventually I just put the book down and I was like, this loosely based.
It's hard to read 12 pages a minute.
Yeah. Well, I skimmed, but yeah, it's pretty loosely based. And also, I don't think the book really, he had it better thought out. Yeah, it wasn't helping much.
There was also a graphic novel that F. Paul Wilson made based on his book, but after the movie, because he wanted to tell the entire story in a different medium with visual.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Did you read that? Have you ever seen that?
I looked it up on Amazon when I found that out, and it's kind of expensive.
$200?
No, there's separate volume. I don't know if it's collected all together, but the one that I was looking at was volume 2, and it was $60 or $70. I quickly lost interest.
What I was reading here was 5 volumes. Actually, the comic book artist He did number 1 through 5. His name is Matthew Dow Smith.
I don't recognize him, but his art style it's kind of like Mike Mignola, the guy that created Hellboy. They looked pretty good.
Well, he did Hellboy Box Full of Evil.
Ah, well, that could, yeah.
All makes sense now, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Even the plot for Hellboy and the backstory and everything is way more fleshed out than this thing. Here's another thing, is I didn't realize, I thought that this was the actual devil. I did not remember that he had a name. His name is Molasar.
Or Molasses, whatever. He's a slow-moving demon.
He has another name also.
Yes.
Like a first name or something. Molasar's his maiden name.
Yes.
Where is it here? I really want to see it. Radu?
Yes.
Radu Molasar?
But wasn't Radu also a vampire?
Well, yeah, like he has like a real normal Romanian name. So then I looked at that because I really thought that it was the devil.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just the like Old Testament like devil. A quick side note. When I saw how bad the quality of this was, I was like, well, you know what? Because I'm watching it with my wife and I was like, let's just watch Prince of Darkness and it'll kind of, you know, it'll be in the same mode, you know,
Okay.
And then I'll watch this crappy YouTube version by myself. So watching that, there's actually a lot of similarities between, I didn't really plan it like that, but, you know, it's very similar plots. Anyway, that was a silly movie too. I just knew in my head that I loved that movie. And once you start watching it, the things that they're saying, like when they're like bringing computers and shit into the church, first of all, what are they doing with all that stuff? And, you know, they're all like physics professors and, you know, and then Donald Pleasance is kind of the, you know, Donald Pleasance and Egg Shin from Big Trouble in Little China. I don't know. Victor Wong, is that his name?
Yes, that sounds right.
And the other guy, the hero from Big Trouble in Little China. He's in it too. Gosh, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But anyway, very similar plots, very goofy plots. But anyway, at the end of Prince of Darkness, Donald Pleasance is having this, you know, kind of a crisis of faith. And if you really pay attention to the plot, now they're saying that Donald Pleasance is kind of trying to come to terms with the fact that Jesus, you know, wasn't the Son of God, that maybe he was from extraterrestrial origin, and that there are like forces of good and evil, but it's not the, you know, biblical version. It's more like a, you know, this species of creature versus, you know. Have you seen Prince of Darkness in a long time? Do you remember that?
No, it's been 15 years. Easy.
I just realized that I've never paid attention to the plot, and it is very silly. You really just need to concentrate on, you know, Alice Cooper and their sunspots. And John Carpenter wrote that movie and takes a Alan Smithy credit. It's not Alan Smithy. It says, oh gosh, it says like something Quartermain, or, you know, he comes up with some goofy.
Quartermain.
It's not Alan, but it's something similar to that. And anyway, that's why, is because it was a very loosely, it's like, let's just get from one special effect sequence to the next.
I'm going to have to freaking go back and watch it now. You got me interested now. But how does that tie into the Keep?
Well,
Loosely.
So, you know, kind of playing around with like, you know, ultimate evil and like kind of
semi-evil and quasi-evil.
Man-made evil, you know. It's mentioned very briefly in this movie is that Molasar was like a sorcerer. Okay. He was like a magic user.
Okay.
And he was imprisoned. Okay, we'll get in more in depth to this later on. But I was like, okay, they're in Romania. They say they're in like Carpathia or something, you know? And I was like, huh. You know who else was a sorcerer in Carpathia around that time?
It's Vigo!
Vigo von Homburg-Duchendorf, the scourge of Carpathia, the sorrow of Moldavia. So I was like, that's got to be tied in there somewhere, you know? Of course, he was from the 17th century, but still.
It says here, in the film's narrative, the keep is to a massive uninhabited castle, citadel, or fortress located in the Danube Pass of the Carpathian Alps in Transylvania, Romania. In the film, the interiors of the keep are said to contain 108 T-shaped icons made of nickel.
Right.
According to the author, F. Paul Wilson, both elements to the story are fictitious. No building like the keep ever existed, and no Danube Pass can be found in Romania.
Well,
that's because it's fictitious. Come on.
Yeah, give us something. And the trivia on IMDb, which I was thinking this, it does kind of incorporate the Molasar's kind of like a Jewish, like a golem, you know, that they kind of bring this thing to life to crush their enemies, I guess.
Oh, and he says that, I will kill them all.
I had forgotten that, too, that's how he kind of got into, Ian McKellen's mind, started kind of, getting him to trust him, was that he was...
Tell me who picked on you in the playground on 3rd grade. I will crush your enemies.
Give them a super snuggie.
Wedgies for everyone.
Oh my God. Can you imagine the atomic wedgie that Molasar could pull on somebody? Just rip their body in half. Having him talk like that also was very strange. He was almost kind of like a pro wrestler, sort of like.
Yes.
Okay, so all that aside, let's talk about the movie, because
we're watching a movie.
This is yes. Immediately you hear a Tangerine Dream as the titles are going, which is like, okay, I can work with this. Although at certain points in the movie, the music doesn't fit the action sometimes, I love that kind of like soaring, I don't know, I think it was happening during maybe the sex scene, possibly.
So I'm just thinking about this fantasy style, and that's really
similar.
what this was, is more of a almost a fantasy style movie, the way it was shot. Beautifully done with some, slow motion running into the keep.
Yeah, it was very stylish. It almost looked like a music video or something.
Yes.
But, Excalibur had come out maybe, I think it was earlier than this. I mean, that's a totally different thing, but like the kind of gauzy, magical kind of thing with like a stirring soundtrack. And
Excalibur was 1981, and the visual effects were done by Wally Weavers.
Oh, well, that could be why. The only reason that came to mind was because Gabriel Byrne was in it too. But, so maybe that's what they were going for? Kind of a mystical type thing?
Yeah, we'll get more into Wally Weavers. He doesn't have a whole lot for our type of stuff, but, he's been around for a minute.
Yeah, and he did a bunch of, like, different things, I think. Like, he wasn't just makeup and stuff. I think he did a lot of stuff. I looked through all of his stuff last night, and I can't remember any of it right now, but still. But anyway, so yeah, you hear Tangerine Dream within the first few seconds of starting it, which is getting you off to a good start.
The copy on Popcorn Flicks is not bad. I mean, it's obviously a VHS copy, which I'm fine with because, we grew up with the VHS, but it's very soft in parts too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think us watching it on VHS back then, the video quality was probably better than this, like, 2 or 3 times downloaded and degraded.
But I will post this link to Popcorn Flicks on the website so people can find this movie, because when I went to Popcorn Flicks and tried to do a search, I couldn't find it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to it somehow.
Interesting.
It's there. Anyway, but we start this film with like a German military outfit coming into this small village in Romania, coming up to the keep,
Yep.
which is basically built into the side of a mountain, isn't it?
Yeah, when it pulls out and you see just that kind of archway into it. But again, I didn't find any information. Is that a real thing, or did they build all of that?
Nope. I will talk about that as well.
Okay, great. Because it looks, that's one of the few things that, the space inside the keep does look very cool, very evil and intimidating, and
it's way damn cool.
It is very, I love, that's again why it's so upsetting that it is so hard to see. I can't wait for a Blu-ray. But yeah, when which scene I'm talking about, the very first, real kind of actiony, creepy scene, that cavern looks like it goes on forever. And my wife and I were like, do you think that's a real like space, or is that a model that they're just kind of, but if they filmed at a cavern,
I think there's a spot during that pullback when you see him sticking his head in through, and you see the light behind him, and it starts just going further and further back behind that to show how big it is. I think there's obviously a point where it cuts and it's just a picture.
Has to be.
Exactly.
There's like a matte painting.
So this village, though, they look pretty clean and happy. It
looks like the village from Midsummer. It's just a friendly little village. I mean, do they do human sacrifice? Yeah, they've been doing it for thousands of years, but still.
Hey, it's what you got to do to keep the demons, happy. But Jurgen, when he's walking into the keep for the first time, into this freaking massive structure, I don't know, it's just got a good feel to it. It's got a good creepy freaking feel to it.
There's nothing to the space inside.
No, there's nothing.
I mean, I guess it is. There's nothing there. There's just Nazis, and all it is just like big. It's just this giant space, and I think they do explain briefly what it was for. Like maybe the I guess the lord of that area, or maybe it was Dracula. I don't know.
I think they are giving a little bit of insight into vampiric lore.
Yeah, me too. I agree. They're like, let's not make it a vampire. We'll make it basically a He-Man toy.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait until we get to the reveal of him.
From the smoke monster to the,
Yeah, the smoke. It's basically the smoke monster from Lost. And about 4 minutes in, there's one of the villagers just like stroking his yoke. Like it's like a yoke for like a wildebeest or a buffalo or something. He's just slowly kind of like massaging it.
That part of the scene was not slowed down. That's just how slow.
That's how slow that guy. He does that every morning.
Slow, even strokes. Yeah. You got to get that yoke just right.
He's like, you've distracted me. Now I've got to start all over again. Oh, it does give you little cards at the bottom that says that they're in Romania. Romania 1941. I think I missed that.
Now, who is is he the priest? The guy who's just kind of inside caretaking for this? And he doesn't have any answers either.
No.
He kind of lets on that maybe he does have some answers, but he's like, what are you doing here? He's like, I don't know. I'm watching
you
over.
Tell me.
I'm doing my job. Well, what's your job? I don't know.
Yeah, he's kind of playing like riddles with them or something, but really he's just like, yeah, you're right. I don't think he knows what he's doing either.
We've just been doing this every day for the last 30 years. Well, what are you doing? I don't know.
You tell me, man.
We're obviously not sweeping, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Come on. Where's that Swiffer?
All of their brooms are just made of sticks, so it's not like that's going to help much. They don't have a Swiffer back then. Or a shop vac. Yeah, that guy, he was instantly familiar to me, and then I got kind of like, there's so many like similar looking guys.
Mm-hmm.
I can't trust myself to pull their names out because they all look alike, you know?
Right, yes.
But that guy...
I think he is William Morgan Shepherd.
Right. And he is instantly, what would you say his most famous role, his most recognizable role would be?
Probably, I would go with Pocahontas 2.
Oh, interesting.
No, I don't have anything. Was it Frasier? Did you recognize him from Frasier?
He was in Frasier. You're not just saying that. I saw it earlier.
So immediately, Jurgen is looking at all of these fancy little, what they call nickel T's, but they're crosses, right? They're crosses.
Yeah, they're crosses. They just don't have that upper part to them.
Right.
Like little pagan crosses.
Which, that's what everybody seems to be drawn to because they're like, oh, there's riches. Let's steal these things.
Right. I guess the whole ploy with the nickel was like for them not to be.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We find out here in a little bit that there is one silver cross.
Yeah, or two. One or two.
Right. I think there's like a second one on the inside.
Yes.
That is keeping this Radu or Molasses, Mr. Molasses.
Radu Molasses. Perfect.
In his chamber, in his colossal freaking cavern that really kind of looks like the set for the other dimension in Phantasm.
Yep. It's got those little upright monolith type things. It also kind of looks like 2001 A Space Odyssey a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It especially that one scene that we were talking about where you get to see that whole giant cavern, and then they have those like monolithic type things.
Mm-hmm.
It also looks like Castle Grayskull. I mean, I can't stress enough how this guy looks like Skeletor. Okay, sorry.
Well, if you look at, then again, Wally Weaver's special
You're kidding
effects.
me. If you say that he designed Castle Grayskull.
No, he did the visual effects for 2001 A Space Odyssey.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's all coming into play.
Yeah, I'm actually doing pretty good on this one,
Yeah, you're pulling shit out of your ass, and it's right.
Yeah, that almost never happens.
I know. I have to edit it down. I'm like,
Thank you. I've been meaning to thank you for that.
There's Jason misspeaking again.
Yep.
Cut out every time he says the Whoopee Boys. Holy fuck.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, have we talked about the Whoopee Boys?
The guy who's in the keep is not a priest. Is that correct?
I think he's just one of the guys from the village.
Okay.
He's like a deacon.
Okay. Because Robert Prosky is Father Fonescu.
Yes.
Which we saw him stick his head out just a minute ago when they were driving through. And
yep. Oh, man. There's a part later on that is so weird. My wife just looked right at me and she's like, did you see that? And I was like, yeah, okay. I'm watching the scene where he kind of sits down at the table and has like a Montclair moment. He's just like lights a cigarette and he's like, oh, fuck. He's like, my duties are, he's worn out from just smoking,
kneeling at this altar.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's changed that robe in a long time.
Nope.
They kind of made him look a little bit Rasputinish,
Maybe so. He's got this weird square head, but that beard really adds to it.
When he was smoking that cigarette, I almost wanted him to just take the beard off and lay it on the table and be like, oh, man, I got to get that thing off every once in a while.
So anyway, Robert Prosky, I mean, he's been around for quite a while. He died in 2008, but, he's just a recognizable face.
Yeah. A character actor from way back. A lot of Teamster in like the 90s. He's always kind of like a cigar chomping kind of.
He was in Hoffa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was in The Great Outdoors.
He was the judge in the movie The Natural.
Oh, okay.
You know who else was in The Natural?
Who's that?
Alan Fudge.
No. Yeah, he is. I remember. Oh, I feel grounded now. Like I can continue. I was getting a little, a little lost, but
Yes. Back
Joe,
at it.
Joe Don Baker plays the whammer in The Natural. You want to think or talk about that for a little while? Ooh. I'll bring that back up on next week's episode.
Okay.
I got a lot of random trivia that I have written down, and I really need to unload it.
Right? It's nothing to do with this film. It's just Joe Don Baker trivia.
Several pages are just Joe Don Baker related.
All right. Well, I'm going to close out this tab on Robert Prosky. We'll see him a lot in this film.
Yeah, we'll talk about him later.
So I am just at 10 minutes in when he's still getting the walk and talk.
From a guy who doesn't really know either.
This is the keep. Yeah. Let me show you over here where it's still the keep.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a wall.
This is a long, dirty hallway.
There is a lot of dust.
But they stopped one soldier who was supposed to be stringing lights, but decided he wanted to steal one of these crosses out of the wall because
why not?
We need some war riches. Which these are the good Nazis, right?
Yeah, comparatively.
And was it that they requested backup? Why did they come here in the first place?
I could not tell you. Jurgen Prochnow kind of runs over it, but it's like...
Are they there because they believe it's supernatural?
No. I don't think... I think that's all completely secondary to what's like actually... I think they just needed a space big enough to, house like all the soldiers and stuff.
Okay. At the end of a Romanian village.
Yeah, and also he tells one of those guys that basically they're on the same side as the
Right. When they start going in and start killing people later, they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We're on the same team here.
Right. I don't know if he says that, but basically is what he...
Is Romania in cahoots with Germany? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I would think so. And they're like, and the Russians come into it too. I don't know. Let's not bring up the war or anything else throughout the entirety of this movie because...
It's inconsequential.
Exactly.
Good word.
Yeah, great.
So our guy that was trying to pick off that silver cross...
Yeah, he also kind of scrapes around on it with his fingernail, and he's like, it's silver. I don't know if I would know the difference between, like...
nickel and silver. But...
Especially when it's glowing.
Right.
You know?
He was sentenced to stand outside and do first watch, so he's freezing his ass off.
Right.
And from inside the keep, there is one glowing cross that just happens to be straight in front of the door that he's watching.
Yeah, it's almost like a nightlight.
Yeah,
they leave it on at night.
LED light.
So you see where you're walking, so you don't fucking fall 2,000 feet into a goddamn cavern. But yeah, also, well, I'll get to that. The shape and the size of, it's hard to pin down how big this freaking place is because later on there's a scene where they're at where a moat kind of would be, at the very, like that little bridge that walks over to the actual keep entrance.
And Scott Glenn is like way down to the bottom.
Yeah, you're like, oh, there was just a fucking drop off into like the center of the earth right there. They never showed that.
You could have showed us something.
Yeah, at least it's kind of like, oh, they're walking across that bridge again. Like, hope they don't slip.
Man, there's a reason I didn't drive a tank over this.
Right.
So the one guy, he sees that one cross is silver, so he goes to get his buddy to help him extract this silver.
Right.
This is with the slow motion running up to the cross. And it's not, they did it once with just the one guy.
Yes.
And now when he goes to get his buddy, now they both run in slow motion.
Yeah. And they must be thinking like that's the shot, that's what's going to be on the front of it.
But immediately they use their bayonets to try to pry this thing off of the wall and end up pulling a block out of the wall.
Yeah. Somebody's going to notice that.
Don't even bother with how are we going to put this back.
Right.
Yeah.
And that also has to wake up everybody in the goddamn keep. Can you imagine
the
echo in that place? The acoustics are crazy.
Wah, 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 wah.
Also, one of those guys is one of the Nazis from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this guy, Wolf Collar. I don't know if he's with Jürgen Prochnow group or if he comes later with...
Let me get my eyes on him. He kind of looks like a Viggo Mortensen type.
Yeah, maybe.
Square-jawed. Yeah. Man, he's been in 107 things, and it looks like most of them were
Nazis?
General, Sergeant.
Right.
Herr Gethard. Yeah, all Nazis. Kaiser Vlad.
All Nazis, all the time.
Ludendorff.
24-hour Nazis.
German consul. Welcome to German radio.
Welcome. I'm really trying my hardest not to just do a horrible German accent. I want to so bad.
Go ahead, get into it. I'll cut every bit of it out.
Okay.
Note to self, do not edit.
You know what? I just realized when you say that you edit stuff out, you probably don't.
You don't know.
I feel betrayed now.
Yep. You would know if you listened to the podcast.
Okay, wait a minute. When Wolf Kaler takes off that hat, his forehead, he has like a Easter Island face. It's huge.
So they pulled out the block. There's a passage underneath in which he decides he wants to crawl into.
Yeah,
because there's another cross.
Right.
It confused me at first because I couldn't get an idea. And that's where, the scope of how big this is or what. They tied a belt around his ankle so his buddy could lower him in, but it looked like he was crawling in straight.
Yeah. That I don't know how they...
And he starts barely picking at the other cross when the block falls out the other side and he slides in and his buddy's just basically holding him dangling by the freaking belt.
Yeah.
And this is where we see the huge cavern,
the very cool shot.
Is it the living area for Radu? I mean, this is my foyer.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my foyer.
Oh my God, that guy. I wonder whose voice that was. Because I meant to look that up because he sounds a little like James Earl Jones when he is talking to, in one of those scenes where it's just him and Ian McKellen talking. I was like, is that James Earl Jones?
I heard it too, but it's not.
Okay.
Whether they dubbed it in later, I haven't found any kind of knowledge like that, but when they're pulling away from this shot, this is your large cavernous shot. There's one shot that looks like it paused for a second.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the exchange came from your mat, from your real pullback. But yeah, it was really cool that finally when you see the slight light touching the interior of this cavern, because at first you're like, what the fuck's going on? Then you start seeing these pillars and you're like, all right, well, where are these little Jawas? I know they're here.
Exactly. Where's the midgets? Angus, come out. We know you're in there.
Boy.
They do look similar.
And then there's like a Last Starfighter effect. Is that supposedly just the now incarnation of Radu? Just like, he needs food. He's basically Frank from Hellraiser, right? That he has to feed on the flesh in order to become whole.
Yep, that makes sense.
That's what I got out of this.
Yeah. And in that, he is kind of vampire-like, he's sucking their souls off and he is becoming more powerful.
It kind of still gave me the feel of Life Force as well.
Yeah.
I kind of got that in there. Unfortunately, there is no Steve Railsback in this film.
Oh, God. I love a Steve Railsback.
So this buddy that's holding on to this belt, holding his friend in, and just gets sucked into the wall as something's happened to his buddy, right? Yeah. And he pulls him out. I love this. The expression on his face is just...
Yeah.
It looks like he's opening a a Tupperware container out of the refrigerator that he's not sure what's in it. He's like, this is going to smell.
Yep. He's like, hey, buddy, you feel lighter. Everything okay?
Oh, no.
Oh.
And it just looks like the mostly upper portion of this guy's body is burnt off.
Yeah, or like exploded into. There's a lot of like. They look like they explode, like from the inside out.
Okay.
Kind of like the guy in Big Trouble in Little China when he turns himself into a.
Mm-hmm.
What was his name? Hercules? No, Samson, maybe the guy from. Anyway.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's just legs. It's just his little legs. But that was a weird.
The following scene is strange. I didn't understand that the smoke was arising from the body and going into the hole in the wall of the keep.
Yeah.
And then the keep starts doing a trap door,
Yes.
3PO.
Right.
Shut down all the trash compactors on level.
It does do that, doesn't it? And that guy's kind of freaking out because the walls are moving. I forgot about that. But then that doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, that doesn't go anywhere because we don't see anything like this after.
Right. That would be cool if, he could actually like control the keep itself, which I guess would make sense. He's been there for...
Well, I mean, it's his home. He's just been trapped in it. Quarantine.
Yeah, that's what that's the message. Is that where we get the first Scott Glenn scene also?
Well, just shortly after that.
Okay.
Because, his buddy the walls are closing in on him. He stands up and looks through the hole that they've created in the keep. And he gets blasted with, I don't know, just Radu's farts and just thrown up against the wall of the keep and kind of shatters a little bit.
Yeah, he can compress air. He's like an air compressor.
And the German soldiers immediately run outside and just start shooting at everything and absolutely nothing.
Yeah. What are you guys shooting at?
They don't know.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm watching the scene again where he pulls that body out. And it is like, it does look gross. It's all mangled. And there's a lot of good smoke special effects in this. I mean, that's why Tangerine Dream really like lends itself to.
I would love to get this, by the way. I was just reading on Tangerine Dream. This is on IMDb trivia as of September 11th, 2020. Tangerine Dream to release the Keep score in an early 80s box set.
Oh, cool. I have to look for that. I would love to have a Tangerine Dream box set.
Oh, man.
Oh, see, I forgot, like, his friend, he does get blasted, but it, tears his head off. There's like pieces of his face are like floating around.
Yeah.
And you're right. Yeah. Those guys come out and what are they shooting at?
They don't know. They're shooting kind of up in the air.
Yes. And
they're not even shooting in the keep. They're outside.
But yeah, this is after that scene, you get this weird scene with Scott Glenn in what looks like a hotel room.
Yep. And it's snowing.
Yeah, he's like in a snow globe.
Yeah.
But I didn't get that. Like, did that stuff materialize into this package that he is carrying around? It looks like those dudes that like carry their pool cue to the bar, and you're like, oh my fucking God. This guy better be amazing at pool. Otherwise, I'm going to laugh at him.
So Scott Glenn, I think the demon escaping from the keep temporarily, Radu, Molasses, his energy escaping his prison has then triggered Scott Glenn, who is the angel. We don't know what he is.
I've got some more on that. That part I can kind of fill in if you'll remind me later. I mean, ultimately it goes nowhere, but at least I can tell you what they were going for.
I've got tons of information that is not going to help you.
Okay,
not
great.
relevant to this movie, in fact.
Great.
It may or may not be about movies in general.
Yep. At a certain point, I just looked at the right stuff. And I was just looking, I was like, what am I doing? This has nothing to do with what I was...
You're like, Jack Crawford.
And Scott Glenn, without his shirt on, is such a weird... He's one of those wiry, muscly guys that looks like they probably never work out, and then they're just made like that, you know?
Well, you would think Scott Glenn's early trivia.
Oh, boy. How much time do we have?
Oh, man.
Can we take a small break and come back to Scott Glenn? I guess. Like I said, this is my second cold cough.
Hey, freaksters and freakettes. It's Tim from the Moratorium. Do you like the sweet sounds of our witty banter in your ears every week? Well, head on over to our Patreon, and for only $3 a month, you can get even more. In the director's cuts of our movie episodes. On average, that's 20 minutes more of our wisecracking, jive-talking, and lip-flapping laughter straight to your earholes. Go to themoratorium.com and click on our Patreon link, and you'll find 5 awesome tiers with tons of goodies. You can also find our Teespring link on the website for even more awesome merch. Thank you for your support. Now on with the show.
Okay, so you were going to, are we doing a Scott Glenn deep dive?
I'm going to do a little Scott Glenn deep dive, okay?
Let's do it.
Because this is where we've speculated that possibly IMDb trivia has become more of a Wikipedia. We can't necessarily trust all the information that's in it.
That's for sure.
And this is where this bit of trivia also seems like that. Scott Glenn did 2,000 push-ups at one time on the set of Urban Cowboy.
Wow.
Hey, Scott, we're ready for your scene on the, no. 641, 642. All right, let's just go to, can we get Deborah Winger a bra? No?
Yeah.
No, Scott.
Nope.
Scott, you're
Scott,
really wanted to get on that mechanical bull. 832.
Oh my God. Can we get another hatchet-faced actor to come in here and mumble some lines? He is in the great tradition of like your Lance Henriksen's or your Stephen McAddies or something, where they are just born with their great-grandpa's face on a young person.
Even in this movie, when you see
he looks exactly the same in this as he does in basically everything that he looks slightly younger.
Mm-hmm.
He is a handsome dude.
But he looks like he's been scarred. He's weathered.
He is weathered. That's a good way to put it. He is very weathered.
He looks older than Ian McKellen.
Yes, for sure.
When he's not in the old person's makeup.
And I had to look that up too. I mean, I'm sure he'll get his turn too, but I had to look up how old he was, and it's a little surprising. I mean, not too surprising, but...
Well, Scott Glenn and Ian McKellen were both born in 1939.
Wow, really?
They're the same fucking age.
The 30s. That seems so long ago.
It was, Jason. It was a long time ago.
Well, I guess that's why. You're right. I guess that is why it seems like a long time ago. It was.
Scott Glenn, we've talked about him enough before. I don't have to bring him up. I just had to bring up that 2,000 push-ups there because I don't buy it.
I don't either.
Being the same age as Ian McKellen is...
Whoa, that is crazy.
Freaking crazy. But if you look at Jürgen Prochnow, born in 1941, he's 2 years younger.
Yet again, a face that looks like a roast that has just been left out all night and it has become dried out and has fissures in it. And
Jürgen's got a lot of interesting trivia here. Jürgen.
It's hard not to do that.
Jürgen was considered to play the lead in The Terminator.
Interesting.
Could you have seen it? That would have been very different.
Gosh, if you've got two guys that are from a vague, like Slavic country, or like a, you wouldn't be able to understand anybody.
He was really pulling together some acting in this. I mean, he
has a couple of monologues that are real. He's really chewing the scenery, as they say.
Really flying that spittle.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's got that gap in his tooth, which I think maybe like allows for spittle. It encourages spittle. And that's funny because Scott Glenn's character in this is called Gleekin. Did you see that?
Yes.
I guess it looks kind of like Gaelic sort of name, but I pronounce it as Gleekin.
All right, clicking off Scott Glenn.
His character in this movie probably is the only, I mean, that's pulled like word for word out of the book, you know, his character and
was that right?
And how he is but in the book,
does it set up his background at all?
Not really, other than, if you can wrap your head around this, he is the one who imprisoned Molasar in the beginning. So he just kind of roams the earth.
Waiting for somebody, is that it?
Yeah, I guess.
To battle the demon again. Why didn't he stay at the keep then to make sure that nobody would... instead of the guy that had no idea why he was there and guarding this.
He basically got a mental, like, text message. And he's like, boom, I'm awake. Okay, I'm 5,000 miles away from where I need to be. I better start walking now.
Yeah, and he grabs his box, which I thought possibly it looks like rifle sized.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm. There's a point that actually shows where he's at.
He's in Greece. Is what it says.
Okay, I can't read it. It's too.
Which I couldn't tell you how far Greece is away from Romania. Can you do that off the top of your head?
6-7 miles.
You looked at a globe lately?
He's going to find a boat. So it has to be some ways away, right?
Yeah, I got to get a boat.
And of course, you know, the guy he goes to is like, it's going to be expensive. And he hands him like one like Chuck E. Cheese token. And the guy's like,
Whoa, it's like a Krugerrand or something.
I've got the boat for you.
It's like when anybody in a movie gets into a cab and they're like, all right, take me to New York or something. And they're like, that's like 300 miles away. And then he just dumps a like crazy amount of money. And they're like, all right, you're the boss. And
what you want for your in-flight movie? But so we see a long boat ride into the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
There is no exposition during this scene, right? It's just him, just a Michael Mann scene of a boat going off. That's not Miami Vice. Could you put Miami Vice to this?
Oh my God. That music at least would really get your fucking blood pumping. I did think about Miami Vice when I do a lot anyway, but I was thinking about, this is the same guy that did Miami Vice.
Yes.
And then I was like, I'd rather watch Miami Vice than this. His name's Crockett, and he has a crocodile, or is it an alligator? I don't know.
It's for that other podcast. So we're back at the keep, though, and Jurgen he thinks he has everything under control, but I guess they called for backup. Did they call for, no, they called to see if they could get reassigned, I think, away from this.
Because the keep was so creepy?
Maybe.
Or because people were dying? I don't know if they say it like in passing. Like, it seems like when that guy dies to the point where Gabriel Byrne gets there, like it's been a few days and like somebody else has died in the keep.
And that's why that Gabriel Byrne and his super SS troop show up, because obviously Jurgen doesn't know how to protect his men.
Yeah, I guess.
So immediately they round up all the villagers and execute 3 of them.
Yeah. And what does he say? Is it just like to keep them in line or something, or to scare the shit out of them so they don't...
Basically, he thinks that the villagers are responsible for the soldier's death.
Right.
So they're going to continue killing the villagers until they find out who actually did it.
Gotcha.
And he says something like, yeah, and we'll just continue this until we find the answer or there are no more villagers.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
Like, all right.
one way to do it. So yeah, he is kind of like investigating but through like torture kind of.
Through fear.
Yeah, through fear. Right. You're not getting a lot. I mean, like all that stuff when we were talking about like when like Jürgen Prochnow has those long monologues, it's not exposition. They're not explaining the plot. I mean, they're really trying to kind of ham-fistedly overlay, World War II with...
Right.
Just doesn't make a lot of sense. Looking at Gabriel Byrne's IMDb, he also... What is he, Welsh? Or is he just British?
He's from Dublin. So Michael Mann, he's done a lot of great movies. We've always enjoyed his stuff.
Not a lot of this type of movie.
I think I read that he disowned this movie because of what they did to it.
Yeah. It was frustrating to watch. I mean, I can't imagine, like, it just was cut together so strangely, and
I would love to and probably be terrified to watch the 2.5 hour version of this. Or was it 3.5 hour? How long was it? It doesn't matter. We're never going to see it.
It's either amazing or just
makes
even more
less sense.
Frustrating. Yes. Yes.
So something to look forward to. But I want to talk about Wally Weavers for a minute. So Wally Weavers and his special effects filmography here. Okay. Because he's under here for special effects, but he's also had several things as like the matting department, directorless special effects. There's a whole nother list of visual effects in there too.
Right. There's a reason why when he passed away, nobody knew what the fuck to do, because he's in charge of all of the special effects.
They must have buried him with his notepad. He had this,
right. Where was he?
He had a thumb drive in his pocket. And nobody knew where to find it.
Yeah, Michael Mann was like, you know what you're doing. Just he didn't even show up for Romania. He just like let him do all of it.
So Wally Weavers did the special effects. I think we talked about Excalibur. He did the optical effects for Saturn III.
Oh, cool.
A movie that we might have to watch sometime for this.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the movie for a minute.
Okay. There's a scene, I think we just like slammed right from that into something else, but there's that scene where Scott Glenn is at like a checkpoint. They've got like a little outpost with those little like a little barrier.
A little guard outpost.
Yeah, a little guard shack.
He's riding this really old motorcycle.
Yeah. Yeah, with his crate of whatever on the back of it. He does a few like Jedi type, he does like these are not the droids you're looking for kind of thing to those guards. He also has those contacts in. Mm-hmm. Like we were saying, he has no meat on his face. He has like a desiccated kind of beef jerky face. And his eyes are a little bulgy anyway. And then you put those like, I mean, I can't imagine what like those, colored contacts back then.
They were pure stained glass.
Yeah, they had to be.
His eyes.
But they make his eyes like bug out so weirdly. But he does look really cool and strange when he, kind of starts turning into that thing. When
they stop him as he's riding down this road, he must be doing 20, 25 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. I think they say, "Where are you going so fast?" like nowhere, really fast.
It's like, do you know how fast you were going? You can see it's a 15 mile an hour.
This is not the Autobahn.
Yeah, and that road also was like forever long.
Saw him coming for miles.
Miles.
So Robert Prosky, I think, as being they found some writing inside the keep that just kind of showed up, just looks like sidewalk chalk on the wall.
Yes, that's what it looked like.
And they were getting ready to kill another one of the guys, the guy that was watching over this place, because he wouldn't translate it. He's like, I can't translate it. It's gibberish.
Right. So that's where we bring in
the expert, which Robert Prosky.
Hey, expert.
Oh, X-Men. Anyway, but he was in a prison. He was in a Jewish prison, right? He
was in like a camp, like Auschwitz or something.
Him and his daughter, because he has what they called scleroderma.
Yeah, old man-itis.
Yeah, I think so. He's got a kick-ass wheelchair, by the way.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. They don't make them like that anymore.
No. They bring in a love interest, the girl, his daughter.
Yeah.
But basically, I think Prosky said he recommended him to get him out of that prison. Not that he was necessarily an expert. They were just trying to get him out of the prison.
Okay. So that was kind of negotiated so that he's a friend of... I was kind of confused by that. I also didn't know how they knew that he was a professor, but then it shows them in like, whatever, like kind of general population in that camp. And I just thought it was weird that he was in with all those other people and yet they knew exactly where to look for him. And I don't know.
Yes, because they have detailed notes on everybody. We have your papers.
Oh, man. If anybody can deliver a papers line, it's probably Jurgen Prochnow or Gabriel Byrne. He looks like Bernie Sanders. Have you seen that meme with Bernie with the mittens on?
It is everywhere.
Yeah, that's what he looks like when he's in the...
Well, he's got these huge mittens on.
He does have huge mittens.
Later, it shows him he was trying to transcribe something, and he had a pen. He's like, "How can you write? You've got mittens on."
It's like he has to hold the pen in both of his hands and write like a little kid would. Yeah, he's not looking good. I looked him up. He's 43 when this movie came out.
Everybody was 43 when this movie came out.
Yeah, I guess so. That's weird. Like maybe this movie is fulfilling some type of prophecy. Mm-hmm. Also, side note, Jurgen Prochnow is in that End of the World movie with Demi Moore, The Seventh Sign.
Will you die for him?
Yeah, right. And the whole plot of that was that Demi Moore's child was going to be born on leap year. Or leap day,
And you're like, I am the prophecy.
I am the chosen one. Bring me plates of cheeses and sweetmeats. But that never happened.
For our audience that doesn't know that you are
a complete weirdo.
And born on leap year.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Just don't let him in on the joke. That's fine. They did a really good and piss poor job on Ian McKellen's makeup, by the way.
The old makeup? They just put a bunch of flour in his hair.
They tried to give him some wrinkles, and it was strange to look at him like that. You're like...
Yeah. It's like he's got gravy skin on his...
Yes.
Or like they put Elmer's glue on the corners of his eyes or something.
But I guess he's supposed to be in really, really, really bad health. Later, we get to see his hands...
Yeah.
But
his crooked, disgusting hands.
But they don't necessarily explain what scleroderma is other than...
Is that, obviously it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Since we are here to give our audience the most...
comprehensive... This podcast doubles as like a WebMD type thing where they will do a little section where it's like an Ask Us Anything.
This is exactly from WebMD. Scleroderma is a long-lasting disease that affects your skin, connective tissue, and internal organs. It happens when your immune system causes your body to take in too much protein collagen, an important part of your skin, and thus, as a result, your skin gets thick and tight and scars.
So he's got thick skin syndrome?
I guess so.
From what they've got him doing in this movie, I don't think I would have...
Nope. You wouldn't kind of get that, yeah.
Interesting. In one of these scenes, I couldn't tell you exactly which one, Ian McKellen is kind of like lamenting about his body kind of betraying him.
Yes.
You know, basically. He has a little speech about that, something.
I think he says exactly that. My body has betrayed me.
I swear to God, look it up, rewind it, whatever you have to do. Basically, he's saying, like, what was God thinking? Putting us in these fragile, vessels or something.
He's put my mind, this fabulous brain of mine, in the most feeble body ever.
Okay. A line after that, he says something like, why couldn't they have put it in a car? Am I crazy?
I remember hearing something like that, not understanding any of it.
And I was like, what? I mean, there's a couple of references, but it sounds a lot like Turbo Teen to me, like the cartoon where the kid turns into the... There's also My Mom, the Car. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Anyway, I thought that was really weird. He was really thinking outside of the box.
So I guess there's a soup kitchen in the keep.
Yeah.
So that's handy. There's a little bunk area and a little soup kitchen.
Could they not have figured out a way not to get her raped? Like, can they bring a bowl to the room or something?
Mm-hmm. So this girl, the love interest, right, Alberta Watson, who plays Eva Kuza.
Mm-hmm.
Kuza.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to get food, and when they grab her, they punch her right in the fucking stomach, man.
Yeah, it does. It's not great.
Mm-mm.
We all knew it was going to happen, but...
Two guys, one guy's holding her, the other guy's trying to rape her.
Right. She's wearing like 3 shirts.
Are we trying to assume that Molasses Radu is just... He's the keeper of his own keep? I don't know. He sees indignity and he's going to correct it? What?
Or if anybody's getting it in the keep, it's going to be him.
Is that it? Because he shows up as a radical fart, right? It's kind
of a prolapsed butthole, kind of a smoke effect.
Yeah.
It looks like if Doctor Who had like all the money in the world and they could just do... It looks slightly goofy, but really well done at the same time. And it's that guy's face that he blows up like a fucking porcelain doll or something.
Yes.
His face goes in like 20 different pieces. And then he kills that guy from, whose line is it anyway? The tall, goofy looking guy. That's who that is, right?
Sure.
It must be his dad, his German dad.
So after he kills the two... The smoke Radu's farts, molasses fart, whatever you want to call him.
Radu.
The smoky demon is carrying her back to
her dad.
Maybe? But in the meantime, it's the first part you actually see that he has started to regain some of his flesh.
Yeah.
Right? He's got an actual physical form from each person that he kills, he gets a little stronger. And that's where I brought up the Hellraiser thing, because that's where it made me think of Frank. Every time he killed somebody or consumed the flesh, he just, regained a little bit more of himself. Oh, and there's Ian McKellen right there trying to write in his journal with mittens on.
It's not going great. He's like, ugh. He does have a lot of like random papers. I think he's just getting upset in there.
Seriously, though, when you see this smoke monster thing, looks pretty damn cool.
It is cool. I like the way you can see its head and I wonder how, I know there's probably a really good practical way. Obviously they're like kind of reversing the film too, but I'd like to see how exactly they did that. Because it is cool looking. Also seems cheap a little bit too. Like it's the most effecty looking effect.
It looks super cool. And it has to become some kind of a vacuum inside that they're having smoke. But the swirling of the smoke around it just looks really cool.
It really does.
Here's a little bit of exposition between Molasses and Ian McKellen, though, when he was basically tells Molasses that he is a victim here.
Right. Yeah.
He is not part of them.
Right. Yes.
So now he's touched by a demon. That was a TV show back in the day, right?
Yeah, touched by a demon.
Yeah, it could have been funny.
I was going to say Delarice. Yeah, he kind of like joy buzzard him to sleep. And then...
But after this, it just kind of gives him regenerative powers, right?
I guess.
So now Ian McKellen is...
He's like super Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's actually showing his age now.
Yeah.
Actual
exactly. They turned him into a young man of 43. He's going to be doing one-arm push-ups. And what if she walked in and he was just doing burpees and she's like, what's something, Dad?
So they've taken off the prosthetics off of Ian McKellen. His hands are back to normal. So from this point on in the story, so he's got all of his strength. He's got all of his wits. He feels like a new man, but yet he sits in that damn wheelchair.
Well, I think
a lot. Is he trying to portray himself as still...
He doesn't want Gabriel Byrne's men to know that he's capable, I think, of walking. Or he's just like, I know I can get up and walk around, but this chair is really comfortable.
Yeah. I've grown accustomed to this chair.
Yeah, he's like, my feet are tired. Plays peekaboo with his daughter a little bit. I don't know what that was about.
His filling of his face is like, 2 of my 3 wrinkles are gone.
Yeah, really. It's not like a huge... well, I don't know.
I mean, he's still got the bags.
Yeah, he's got his baggage. Yeah, we were looking at a Fellowship of the Ring last night, and it's like, he's got a pretty big schnoz, but then as Gandalf, they add a little bit more to it. Just like a little bit. It's pretty big. They add some to Christopher Lee, too. They both have little nose extensions. Anyway.
Interesting.
Nose update.
And this makeup...
Man, what do you think? Like, it's basically monster makeup, but they really put all their stuff into the neck. Like,
I wasn't a big fan of the red lights at first. I like the red lights behind his, just shining through his eye holes and his mouth hole, but it does make the mouth look like it's not moving very much when it's talking. Therefore, it makes me think of more Muppety.
Yes. Also, the voice that is coming out is like, he's like, hey guy. He's like, I don't know what I wanted instead, but when he started speaking English, it took me out of it a little bit. I'm like, this is just some guy. It's not some type of spectral, supernatural being. He's just some dude who needs a Ricola. I don't know. Is that what you thought? Would it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Since we're talking about kind of makeup and that thing too, Scott Glenn. I mean, I know this is coming up, but let's just go. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in this. Scott Glenn also has like that kind of, like they really worked on their traps, like they did a lot of shrugs.
Later you see him and it looks like he's got Radu's freaking shoulders.
So then you're thinking like, well, are they the same type of being or something? Like what's with the shoulder thing?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Don't know.
But it looks cool.
So for some reason they kick Ian McKellen's daughter out of the keep.
Well, after they don't want her to, it's making the men crazy, I guess.
Oh, so is that what it is?
I think someone says something along those lines.
She's only been attempted rape on her 6 or 8 times.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just send her away.
Yeah.
We're better when the guys are just trying to rape each other.
Yes, exactly. Let's just keep it to the normal homosexual rape that's happening all the time.
Oh, dude, I didn't see this before. Wait a second.
Do we have some new information?
maybe.
Is it going to explain the whole movie?
It's so hard on popcorn flicks to see where I'm at. Somewhere around 57, because so she has left the keep, but has taken up residence in one of the villagers' homes.
Right.
In which Scott Glenn's already there, and he's like, oh, I've already called dibs on this place because I can see the keep. And they're like, sir, you're a non-paying guest. He's like, don't backtalk me.
Right.
Oh, wrong movie. But
does he give this dude an eye flash?
I don't know. Maybe. But so she's standing there and talking to Scott Glenn.
Yeah.
And there is a mirror behind them.
Yes.
And he doesn't have a reflection.
No, like very much like a vampire would not have a reflection.
Did you notice that before?
I noticed it, looked it up, and it's in the book.
Okay.
And it says that it's really stupid. I mean, like, all of the fantasy stuff is so stupid, but it really says, like, when he agreed to this, this pact, so long as Molasar or whatever was alive, he would stay alive just in case he came back or broke out of his prison. And they took his reflection away to remind him of his job or something. It was very silly.
Okay.
And
well, he doesn't know how good he looks then.
No.
How's my hair? How's he shave?
That explains a lot about his hair. It looks like a blind person cut it with a knife. It's like he let Ian McKellen with the fucking gloves on cut his hair.
That's right.
Would have done a better job.
Can I get another stylist? Because Mittens McGee over here is not cutting it, if you get my drift.
Can I get Shondell or who's in today? But I just want a little over the ear or just cut my bangs off and then let the rest of it just hang there.
As long as you can see my eyes, I'm good.
Yeah, just cut a straight or not so straight line just right across my bangs. Well, we figured it out. Do you just want to stop now? Because I think we did it.
All right.
We figured out the hair.
So she's been kicked out of the keep.
Yes.
And I guess now has been forced to take up residence with Scott Glenn.
Okay.
I think she's enamored by him too.
Well, yeah. I mean, immediately upon meeting him, there's something going on. But also, I mean, we've already seen him do that Jedi thing. I mean, if you can do that, then the possibilities are gross. You can get up.
Yeah, you're immediately trying to seduce women.
So I think he's kind of like prime the pump, whether or not she. Because all the other men that she is surrounded by are basically
horrible Nazis.
Hatchet-faced Nazis, yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't realize this, so I guess she took a nap, and when she woke up, the mirror was taken down off the wall.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They made a point to show that slow pan.
Gotcha.
Which you got to imagine, all of these slow pans and these long scenes, it's just part of Michael Mann's nature, right? So we see now that Scott Glenn is seducing the daughter.
Yeah. Oh man, that sex scene is so. I mean, my wife and I, we kind of looked at each other like, "Is this is not sexy, right?"
Well, the original cut of the sex scene alone was like 39 minutes long.
I mean, at a certain point, they're basically doing like yoga or something.
It looks like it.
It's like no other person has ever had sex before.
No.
Except for Sting.
Yep.
When he's blasting his wife for 2 weeks or something because they have that weird tantric thing. Come on, Sting.
Yeah, this scene does go on a little too long.
Uncomfortable. And the fact that he kind of did some mind tricks is not cool either.
Didn't even have to buy her a drink. And then he's doing mercy, he's grabbing her hands and bending him backwards.
Big Charlie horse. Ah. No, I'm done talking about that. And then their pillow talk is
I'm done talking about that, but I'm not.
She's like, "What's wrong with your hair? What's wrong with your eyes? What's in the box?"
Which we don't find out what's in the box until almost the end, right?
I wanted it to be something, and it ended up being not as impressive.
No.
Back to Molasar. He is looking pretty cool now. It's basically like they have taken a skeleton, a medical skeleton,
right? Okay,
and just put like red vines all over it, licorice. But yeah, he is looking much cooler now. He's kind of, he's just the musculature over,
If Skeletor was a medical model, yes.
Yeah. If they had taken all of the skin off of Skeletor, this is what he would look like, which is pretty rad.
How many scenes that we need to see, like in this one in particular, when Ian McKellen goes to talk to Radu, he's not really going to talk to him. He's backing into the scene. There are at least 4 scenes where the main person on the shot is backing into peril.
Right. That is odd.
How often do you walk backwards when you're like, something's not right here, I better back up?
Also, there's just a big, muscly, lumpy, smoky thing in there.
You've got to smell this coming.
Yeah, you've got to sense that something is behind you. But you're right. Was he looking for guards, or was he thinking that did Molasar just appear behind him? I don't know. It doesn't matter, but you're right. That's stupid.
And there's a whole lot of discussion here. I didn't pay attention to what they were talking about.
He's basically just telling him that, now you can, if you free me, you can have the power to...
Okay, so this is where he's like, oh, you like the way you feel now? You're free of disease?
Right.
If you get this talisman, and I think that's what they were calling it, and take it out of the keep, I will be free and you will be free.
Or he's promising that he will, kill the Germans or whatever.
Is he just kind of faking it, saying that...
I believe so. I mean, I think maybe it's within his power to do that, but he is just trying to... basically, although, I mean, that's, can you hear my dog howling?
Yes, I can.
I think there's a fire truck that's going by. Which is funny because, what's his face's border collie just ran in, which we'll talk about that here in a minute. But yeah, so now he's got to quick get into that wheelchair and pretend like he can't use his legs anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that guy is just screaming at him. I mean, he really is doing a lot in this movie.
And that's Robert Prosky underneath that prosthetic beard.
Especially in this scene, because that's another thing is I think of him primarily as being kind of a lighthearted. I mean, he's probably always a bad guy or something, or like a bad boss. But he's usually sort of part of the comic relief a little bit in movies that he's in. And now he's like this angry, screaming priest who looks like Rasputin.
That hairline. He's dressed entirely in black.
Yes, it's not helping.
When Ian McKellen stands up and shows him, this is what Radu has done for me. I'm well, look at me. And of course, him being the man of the cloth, the black cloth, he's just all
terrified. He's like, he is in bed with the devil.
And he backs up and he's screaming at him. He really looks like Robin Williams in Fisher King.
Brother.
He really kind of looked like that.
Yeah.
When I was watching Ian McKellen try to escape the keep in the wheelchair with the wind blowing, I was just laughing. We know he can walk, but he's putting on this freaking play of this facade that he's still feeble.
He also is a little too close with his daughter. There's a lot of bad touches in that, especially when he gets healthier. He looks like he's almost going to make out with her.
It did. And earlier, after she was raped and he was mitten handing her, it was just strange.
Yeah. She is pretty, but come on, Dad, knock it off. Okay, so I don't know. You didn't say anything about it. we're at the scene where the priest storms off after that yelling match.
Yes.
Then she leaves the little house and runs over to that little, like, pagan-looking church.
Right.
Did you catch what was happening in there?
I don't know. He was in front of the altar, and it looked like it was blood. Maybe it was wine.
Well, let me tell you, we rewound it and froze it. Okay?
Okay.
He is in such a state, he killed his dog.
What?
That border collie that is running around with him and is drinking its blood.
No.
Look it up. There is a paw on that altar.
Oh, insane.
Okay, I did a tiny bit of research. Just the tiniest.
The only bit of research you did for this was about this dog.
Okay, earlier there's a scene where I think the girl is going to find her dad in the keep. I think it's her. It might have been... Oh, it could have been any of our cast. I don't remember who it was, but they walked past the guard right at the front door of the keep, and he's shaking and making like a weird face.
Yes,
like he's either...
I thought maybe he was in shock or something.
I did get that too, and I think he was. But it's when I looked it up, it said that just Molasar being awake and around is causing all of the soldiers to go crazy.
Okay. Now,
so
where did you read this?
I don't remember.
So you have no basis for your claim.
I swear I didn't make it up.
Objection, Your Honor.
I did see that somewhere. That would explain why the priest is like, kill this fucking dog. And I think it was the same dog from Down and Out in Beverly Hills. So, remember when that border collie was in every movie?
Yes.
It's the same dog. That was really weird. Why was he drinking dog blood?
I don't know. And I'm so sad that I didn't catch that. Yeah. I've got to go back and see that now.
We really should watch these movies on the phone with each other so we can figure it out as it happens. Or we could just wait and piece it together the next day.
Yeah, see, I see him. He's turned around. He's got this grimace. It looks like he's got blood on his lip.
It looks insane.
But I don't see the dog paw.
It's there. Enhance. Look at it. I mean, unless that's just his normal sleeping place up on an altar.
Right. Ah, geez.
This is the windiest city in Romania.
There's a lot of fan use, industrial fan use in this movie.
Okay, so I'm at the scene where we figure out just how deep that fucking little crevasse goes. The German guards are trying to lead Scott Glenn into the keep. And he freaks out and throws one of them like bionic, like $6 Million Man style, like throws him like 20 feet up into the air into that crevice. And it's like,
it's still falling.
Like 3 minutes later. Splash. But then they shoot him and he's got predator blood.
When after he throws that guy, he turns around and it looks like, oh, there's going to be a big action scene here.
Yeah.
He's going to be
start fighting all those guys.
Nope. Immediately they just pummel him with 50 rounds.
Yeah.
But the guy who falls back is obviously not Scott Glenn.
Nope.
So he falls down into the crevasse, but nobody looks down there until later, and you still don't get an idea of how deep this is.
Right. No, it's a painting and it goes on forever. But somehow he's managed to land on this little outcropping that's like 30 feet down or something.
Yeah. Does she look down after him right here?
She does. I don't know if she sees him or not. It cuts away from her.
He's kind of trapped on the side, and it shows him open his eyes and move his head.
Yeah. He's fine.
But he continues to lay there until the end of the movie.
Dude, Gabriel Byrne, everybody has shitty haircuts in this movie, but his, where it's shaved down to the skin up to the side, is, I think it's the most disturbing thing in this movie, frankly.
It's a very German-looking haircut.
Man, there's no real likable characters in this. I'm not really on Jurgen's side. I'm not really...
I could care less about Scott Glenn being shot. You're like, oh... Got glowing green blood, so the Germans didn't think anything weird about that.
No. Magneto is like the only guy that I'm, wanting to do something.
Where Jurgen is drinking something, but it doesn't necessarily state or even look like it's alcohol, but you notice like immediately afterwards he starts slurring his speech a little bit. A German screaming and slurring his speech... And with spittle is...
A couple of times Gabriel Byrne kind of recoils like he did make contact with one of those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He flinched. Gabriel Byrne finally gunned him down.
I think he was just being really annoying. And Gabriel Byrne was like, fuck.
He's like, you spit on me way too many times.
Yes.
I've had enough.
And they have that spittle scene from Dune. It's another spittle.
Yes. That was Sting, wasn't it?
He spit a few times.
He was the Spittlemeister.
I do remember him saying, I will kill him. He was really acting in that movie.
I think there's a little bit more trivia on this, okay? Because during this scene when he kills Jurgen, I think there was supposed to be a lot more footage in there of everybody else being killed.
Molasar kills basically all of the other troops.
Yes.
But conveniently off camera. Gabriel Byrne just walks out into a graveyard. Just a pile of dead bodies. Ooh, and some of them are pretty cool. Like they're fucking like baked into the side of the keep and stuff.
The movie had a very troubled production. This is straight off of Wikipedia. Shooting started in 1982 and lasted for 13 weeks. Filming was grueling, and once principal photography was finished, additional reshoots were done, which extended the filming for a total of 22 weeks.
Jeez.
Another 9 weeks of reshoots.
Good Lord. And a lot of it was because of the death of the special effects guy. Did that just
we're getting
everything?
There. The look of the main villain in the movie, Molasar, was changed many times during filming because Michael Mann wasn't sure how he wanted him to look.
Right. And they settled on this. Like, I'm looking at him right now, and it looks cool. I can't imagine that they were thinking about like action figure figure type thing. But that's almost
just think of the toys we could sell.
Oh my God.
Everybody's going to want a Molasar.
Yeah. Do you have your old Molasar?
I got one with retractable smoke, man.
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be cool. Or like you like squeeze him and his neck puffs up or something, He looks like a He-Man character.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even the smoke thing kind of looked cooler than his final form, That monster is what I loved the most when I saw this back in the day, and now I'm just like, man, that's kind of goofy.
Well, we've seen, this is 1983 effects, we've seen what practical effects can be done,
right?
Even in this early year.
Yeah.
There was even a mechanical figure built, which was to be used in the scene where Molasar talks with Dr. Kuza for the second time. This is where he backs into the scene.
Yes.
Okay. But that design was changed to a man suit once Michael Mann, decided to film the scene differently. 2 weeks into post-production, visual effects supervisor Wally Weavers died, which caused enormous problems because nobody knew how he planned to finish the visual effects scenes in the movie.
Even Michael Mann didn't know how the hell it was going to turn out. That's crazy.
Especially the ones that were planned for the original ending. According to Mann, he had to finish 260 shots of special effects himself after Weaver's death.
I imagine him, like, maybe finding him in his trailer dead, and he's just like, God damn it. Oh.
Because of this, several new endings had to be filmed long after the crew and the original cinematographer had left production. Originally, Mann had two ideas for the film's climax, one with the battle between Gleekin and Molasar on top of the keep, and one taking in place inside the keep.
Right, I read that too.
That would be interesting, but we haven't seen the grounds of the keep.
No, you are like weirdly isolated, and when you do, like that part where Ian McKellen was trying to find the talisman that they're talking about, and he was like digging through rubble and stuff. I was like,
yes,
where is he? What part of the keep is that?
No idea what he's looking for. After Jurgen gets shot and Gabriel Byrne's walking through and sees all of his men just killed.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see what happened and how he killed them.
For sure.
I think that's mainly because of not necessarily the special effects, but also this. With the constant production extensions and the film already well over budget, Paramount refused to pay for the filming of the additional footage needed for this finale.
Great.
So the simplified ending Mann put together for the released film was weak and somewhat unsatisfactory.
You don't say.
Right.
I'm watching it right now. I'm pretty weak, pretty unsatisfactory. There's that weird scene where, again, you're not real sure where in space and time Ian McKellen is. Mm-hmm. Sir Ian McKellen.
Yes.
But there is a little slow-mo as he's walking past all of those little, like the crosses are lighting up as he's walking towards them, which is kind of cool looking.
So when we see Gabriel Byrne going up against Molasar.
Yes, he's basically screaming like a girl.
Well, he's got just a cross. That's all he has is just a cross.
Yeah.
But this is where Molasar really does look like a He-Man. He looks like Juggernaut.
Yeah, a little bit. I just realized my wife and I had a pretty long discussion about it. And I have Nectoids written down because I thought if there were action figures, they would be called Nectoids.
Awesome.
I just saw Scott Glenn kind of neck out a little bit. He's looking down at that staff. And he's like, "Ooh, yeah." So, yeah, you finally see what is in that box.
Right.
And who else was just for sure that was going to be a sword? And then he opens it up and it's a fucking stick. And it's like, come on.
Ian McKellen finds the crucifix flashlight.
Yes.
The Mr. Microphone.
Yes. It basically is just a flashlight with a couple of little things put on it.
Yeah, some wings.
And it's not even a, LED technology hadn't been discovered yet.
It's very weak light.
Yeah. It's like a old, 2C battery light, you know? Not impressive at all.
And so if Ian McKellen is way down in this cavern of Molasses Cave.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, now it's starting to sound like Candyland. Stuck in Molasses Swamp.
Maybe that's where he had to go to find this thing, this talisman. That doesn't make sense.
I mean, at least it's something.
Yeah. But we didn't see him go down there. So when he's trying to leave the keep with this talisman at the same time that Scott Glenn has now decided he needs to climb out of the freaking ravine that he's stuck in. That's why his neck was so bulged because, man, think about the muscles he had to use to climb out.
For 2 hours. He's like, well, I guess I'm not getting anything done laying around here. I guess I'll see what's going on topside.
There is one scene that looks like he has just pudding coming out, some green pudding coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, or like antifreeze or something.
So, but that scene where it's just like a dueling who can get there first. So you've got Ian McKellen running out, which takes forever. Scott Glenn climbing up, which takes even longer.
Yeah.
But she's inside the keep. So the daughter's inside the keep and she finds the staff. But when she touches the staff, that's when you see the neck bulge of Scott Glenn that almost like, but
I think I see where you're going with this and I don't like it.
What staff is she holding on to?
I don't know. Dirty staff? It's my skin staff. I don't know. There is a whole like model sequence where it shows the T part of the staff folding down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, that probably cost thousands of dollars just to do that. And it doesn't make a lick of sense. Why do we care if that thing can... I mean, it's not like it's significant in any way that it looks like something else.
Right.
It's just a staff. It should have been a sword. It should have been like the Kurgan's sword from Highlander, where it's like all in these pieces, and when he finally gets assembled, then he just can like chop the big neck guy's head off. But no.
Gotcha.
He basically turns the keep into like a roller boogie with all those lights and smoke. Why is his neck big too?
I don't know. To make him look like they are from the same realm.
Are they supernatural beings? Are they human?
Well, if he's a vampire of some sort, then I would assume that a vampire is a supernatural being.
Yeah, but they're not. It never once says that they're vampires.
But he has the ability to become smoke.
Yeah.
A vapor.
And
he's just
Scott
a fucking
Glenn
teen vaping.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, nowadays that probably is all like blueberry flavored or something. But then Scott Glenn has all those qualities too. Like he can't see himself in a mirror, but he's walking around in daylight.
Yeah.
There's no rules really to...
No. So he puts the flashlight on the end of his staff. And this is what you were talking about when the staff starts transforming.
Did you say flashlight?
A fleshlight.
Fleshlight.
Fleshlight on his staff.
Oh, man.
Scott Glenn's eyes kind of turned into like graph paper there for a second.
Yeah, they kind of look plaid or something.
Yeah. He's gone plaid.
Yeah.
So basically, he confronts Radu Molasses with this glowing staff.
Turns the keep into a laser light show.
The laser light show. Are there significant properties of nickel that are good for warding off even evil spirits?
Nickel doesn't do shit.
I didn't think so. But now it looks like since he's done the laser light show, they kind of melted a little bit.
Yeah.
Are they melting to show that they are silver beneath?
I wondered the same thing. If they just had if they dressed him up to disguise him, that doesn't really make a lot of sense either.
But did Scott Glenn have black eyes at the end?
Yes. And I saw a still picture on IMDb with him with the black eyes, and I wish that had featured more prominently because that looked cool as shit. The way that both of Molasar and Scott Glenn, both of their ends, look a lot like the end of Legend, where darkness is getting being kind of blasted out into the nether realm.
Okay.
There, like I said, there's a lot of crossover with this and Prince of Darkness. There's a mirror that kind of features prominently in the end, and it's the same thing. It's like a portal to this, like another dimension or something.
And so the reason why Scott Glenn was then transported back is because he defeated Molasar, and that was the only reason that he was living.
Right.
Anyway.
But now in the book, it is said that after that whole scene, Scott Glenn became a normal man, like a regular man who is able to live out his life now that is over.
So was he kind of immortal while this was going on?
That I don't know. And also, couldn't he have just done that
Yeah.
1,000 years ago?
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the answers to our questions might never be answered.
Is in the other hour that is never going to be released.
This is one of the only DVDs where the bonus features are like, it is going to be like, they're longer than the movie. It's going to be like Lord of the Rings or something, you know?
Or they won't release anything.
Yeah.
And you're left with no closure whatsoever. But I'm reading here on the trivia with IMDb that's saying that in the trailer, there are extended scenes in the trailer that are not in the movie.
Well, I think that it's that this was shown on TV and to, I guess, like parts that needed to be cut out, like the weird sex scene.
Which goes nowhere.
Which, yeah. I mean, it was really weird. I'm going to think about that sex scene for the next few days.
If it was to impregnate the woman and then force, give me something.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't necessary to get some side boob action. Okay.
Anything from her, although I think you see her bush a little bit.
Yep. I was worried it was his.
Nope. He had a merkin. This says at the very end, the Keep production pays tribute to Wally Beavers.
Yes.
You should. He's the only reason that this was close to watchable.
So in the trivia, now this was back in 2017, it says, while released on VHS and Laserdisc, has never been released on DVD or Blu-ray. It has been noted that Paramount was going to release it on DVD in 2004, but two reasons have stopped them from doing so.
Oh, man.
First,
they better be good.
Yeah, I was like, first was the studio wasn't able to obtain the rights of the soundtrack by Tangerine Dream.
What?
And I'm like, but
Tangerine
they made
Dream.
the soundtrack for the movie.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
Right.
There's some red tape there.
Yes. Figure it out, Tangerine Dream.
Yeah. Second, Michael Mann, who has disowned this movie, forced the studio not to release it.
Oh, being a dick. He's like, well, if it's not going to be my...
I will tell everybody what you did at that one party that you don't want anybody to know about. He's got some dirt on Paramount executives.
I mean, Michael Mann had to just be on all of the cocaine in the world, right? I mean, he
Sure.
He wrote Miami Vice.
He created it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it says here, a board game based on the movie was designed by James D. Griffin and published by Mayfair Games in 1983.
See, that it feels like they were setting it up to be, I mean, the guys looked ready for action figures, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. What if the priest came with like a dog and you could like, and a little altar?
Great. Ian McKellen and his daughter escape the keep right before the end.
Right.
They fall down on the bridge, and then finally everybody comes up to get them and help them out.
Right.
The priest was like the first one there. He's like, don't worry about that whole dog thing.
Right. Hey, that was...
I was just hangry on the set.
Exactly. It was consensual. And then the very last note I have is this movie is a mess. Period.
I really, really do want to see an extended version of this sometime. Please.
For sure. But this is definitely a flawed version that you're getting here. But, hey, we didn't say they were all going to be Oscar worthy.
In the credits, the enemy being known as the Radu Molisar, Radu being a Slavic surname. In the source novel, Professor Kuza is led to believe that Molisar is an ancient Romanian aristocrat, while the novel ultimately reveals that Molisar is actually Rassilon, a sorcerer from an even more ancient age.
Oh, brother.
The film not only leaves that out of this reveal out of Molasar's identity, but it never mentions either of his names. So
doesn't even call him Vigo the Carpathian.
Exactly. You've read the book. What do you got for me? Do you remember any of that?
I don't know. I vaguely remember that you know, the backstory was slightly lamer than I thought it was. Two sorcerers or whatever, that doesn't do a lot for me. I either wanted it to be like biblical, or what it obviously was just vampires. I mean, like, just call them vampires and they can do all this stuff and it makes more sense. I mean, I think Radu is like, I think that's even one of like Vlad Tepes' names. I mean, like, it's all very vampire. And they just kind of changed a couple of things.
Well, I'm with you.
But no, I don't have anything. I don't have any insight. I shared it all, and it still doesn't make it any better. I'm sorry.
In Wikipedia, talking about the 210-minute cut. So Michael Mann's original movie was intended for 210 minutes long. He was only allowed to have a 2-hour-long movie. Test screenings of the 2-hour-long cut were not positive, so Paramount cut more out of it.
Make it even more unwatchable.
So they cut it down to 96 minutes against Mann's wishes. These last-minute cuts resulted in many plot holes, continuity mistakes, and very obvious jumps in the soundtracks and scenes.
Yeah.
And bad editing issues.
I'm here to tell you, I saw all of that.
So even the sound mixing of the movie could not be finished properly because of Paramount's interference, is why every version of the movie suffers from bad sound design. The original June 3rd release date was pushed back to December because of this.
Good Lord.
They just fucked it up.
Yeah. Well, and I have a feeling like, you know, like Legend, Tangerine Dream did the soundtrack for it, and I don't know if it was Ridley Scott or whoever decided that wasn't, you know, that didn't really fit their, you know, vision of it, so they had whoever composer do a different soundtrack.
But I love the Tangerine Dream
I do too.
In this movie.
But I think it's one of those things where it's like, you know, some people like Rush, and some people think they're the worst band ever. I love Rush. Different strokes for different folks.
I guess so. We didn't come off of anything with this movie, did we?
I'm really
just lots of questions.
I loved it for the effects, and once you look not even that deep into it, it just kind of falls apart. So hopefully that uncut version will surface one of these days, and we'll see Michael Mann's true vision of two guys with huge necks just duking it out. That's what I want to see, is them like actually fight, right. You know?
And yeah, not just laser beam death. He deserved more.
Well, I guess we did it.
Yeah, we did something.
Oh, also I have Gandalf looks like Doc Brown. There was a part where he had like a white shirt on, and he kind of from behind.
When he lost his hat in the wind?
Yeah,
I could see that.
Was it. You look like Doc Brown. Marty!
All right, well, let's wrap this bitch up, Jason. Tell everybody where they can find us.
They can find us at themoratorium.com. They can also find us on the social medias.
You can check us out on our OnlyFans. Yeah, we've already made that joke, haven't we? It's no fun anymore. It wasn't funny the first time.
It's disgusting. It's just pictures of Scott Glenn and
doing push-ups.
Yep.
It's just a loop of him doing push-ups.
Seems like a lot of push-ups. Seems like it would take you like a day to do that, man. How many? Okay, here's the thing. Did he do it like 10 at a time?
It said all in one sitting.
It's impossible.
I got to see footage. If you don't have a picture of this, it doesn't exist.
Yep.
I'm calling you out, IMDb.
Oh, man. We do not want them on our bad side.
No, we would not have anything to talk about if it wasn't for
It's
IMDb.
True. Thank you, IMDb. We're sorry.
Take it all back. All right. Well, if you can't get enough of this podcast, know that if you want to give to our Patreon and then throw us a few dollars, you can get even more.
Really?
For $3 a month, you can get the extended version, director's cuts, where we can't get a director's cut of this movie. You can get a director's cut of our commentary about this movie. There we go.
Yes. Give us some money and we might explain The Keep.
Oh.
Give us a couple of bucks and we'll tell you what it's all about.
Yeah, I could save you a couple of bucks. And, yeah, we don't divulge anything. All right. Well, let's shut this bitch down.
Okay.
Until next week, you'll have some more answers for us, hopefully by then.
More answers than we have.
Email us.
Please tell us what you think.
All right.
All right.
Say goodnight.
Bye-bye. Bye, podcast.
Just hit him with a car or what?
I threw a car at him.
You've been listening to the Season 1 finale of the Moratorium. Next week, can you expect the same shit like nothing ever happened with Season 2? Damn straight. Because we have a poor planning department, and this year kinda screamed right by. Either we were screaming, somebody was screaming. All I know is there was a lot of screaming. But we hope that we brought a few laughs to your lives. If you have any movie suggestions, or just want to tell us how much we really suck, you can contact us at moviemoratorium@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and long live VHS.
Tell me who picked on you in the playground on 3rd grade. I will crush your enemies.
Mm-hmm. Give them a super snuggie.
Wedgies for everyone.